Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here on a Thursday night to Checkered Flag Interactive, our weekly coverage of the CMC Sportsman Series here for the UpperEdge Racing League, as we are just about ready to get the green flag here. And currently the cars are lining up on the grid any minute now before we will begin rolling and go ahead and go through the starting lineup for tonight's event. Corey Hoover's on the pole here, and Colin Bowden very close to each other here will make up the front row. Trevor Apollo will start third, with Bronson Stafford on the outside in fourth. Shane Terrian will start fifth. Bruce Ackerman's been really fast all week, fastest in practice. He's going to start sixth. Austin Hartenfeld starts seventh. Eighth, Joseph Thies. Andrew Fayash the third, way back in ninth place, definitely more back in the field than he's used to. And then Bradley Burke completes your top 10. Mark Rapolo will start 11th, with Mark Murphy to his outside in position number 12. Dalton Alexander 13th, with Raleigh Grant Davis in 14th. Brian Dyson be back deep in the field for tonight's event in 15th. Michael Finlayson to his outside in 16th. 17th, Andy Glazik. Lane Krasinski 18th. 19th, Mike Tellier. And rounding out the field for tonight's event in position number 20, Michael Thompson.
And today here on CFI, Bronson Stafford is our in-race reporter, driver of the number 20 Ford Mustang machine. He's sitting there in that second row, Shane, and he looks pretty sporty here today. Very impressive, and also you got to toss the hat off to Shane Terry, the driver of the number 38 Monster Energy Ford Mustang, the winner of the All-Star event last week. Keep your eyes peeled on him as the pace car dives it down pit road. Just as every other week, we get the green flag. We are racing here for the Crescent Moon Contracting race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, good start for Corey Hoover on the inside is Colin Bowden. Long time we've seen him back, and he is returning here tonight in the second spot, and it's like one car up the racetrack there to begin the event.
And Colin Bowden was looking to get back into the CMC Sportsman Series. He missed tryouts by just a day or so due to iRacing updates or something along those lines, and since then he went off to the official series to raise havoc there, doing a competitive job, giving big-time Steve Bonesteel myself a run in not only the C-Class trucks but also the B car there, and it's looking like a pretty sporty field here today.
Yeah, Colin Bowden and Corey Hoover starting to make huge separation early on here, only on the second lap, putting half a second on third place Trevor Apollo, as there actually is a battle there. Seeing Shane Terrian picking up where he left off from last week, as we documented before, and he's already
Cars in the grass.
up to the third spot.
Bronson Stafford, Bruce Ackerman, both those drivers going for an off-road excursion there. Our in-race reporter, he almost comes back up in front of the 16 and the 19 of Andy Glazik. And that was about to get ugly. And there's trouble right up in front of him. Looks like he will be able to save that car. Michael Thompson down on the low side. We stay green here at Charlotte.
Yeah, that was very eventful there. Those guys threw the grass and pretty much did everything they could, because the last thing you want to do is come up into traffic. They did not. We stay green there, but they're going to need a caution to get some of that track position back.
The field starting to get strung out.
Yeah, it looks like Colin Bowden is right there with Corey Hoover. They're step for step, neck and neck, eye to eye, as you would say. They're just right on top of each other. No one has the advantage at the moment, and they're quickly pulling away from the rest of this field. Pretty remarkable. Only a couple laps in, already a second and a half on third place. Here comes Colin Bowden to the inside for the lead. Can he do it?
For the first time in weeks, it looks like this time we might see ourselves a new leader out here in the CMC Sportsman Series. That number 88 or 89 of Colin Bowden. He used to drive the 88, I do believe, and he's looking pretty sporty here on that inside line.
Yeah, still not quite able to make that happen there, but he's still really competitive here, right behind Corey Hoover. It's going to be interesting to see as the longer run goes on if Colin can keep up that speed. Corey's always been fast in these mile-and-a-halves, and we're just going to have to see if he can hold up there for the lead. But plenty of other guys in this race that did not qualify well that are probably going to have something to say before the end of this race. Tell you what, Steve, we got a huge log jam for about the 5th spot as Shane Terrian gets a little bit loose off the corner. He'll lose a couple spots, but 4th and 5th on back, a bunch of cars all in one cluster battling for positions.
Yeah, would hate to see one of those drivers find themselves getting into trouble, because that would mean big time trouble for basically all the cars right there in that little stack up as the caution comes out.
Looks like the 32 of Michael Finlayson and Lane Krasinski in the 60 car get together in turn number 3.
Replay up on your screen, the 32 just kind of came down on the number 60, Lane Krasinski there, and up and against the wall, and there you go.
Yeah, Michael's kind of lucky there. He didn't end up a wall, did a nice job of saving the car after he got hit. But yeah, those guys get together there. A little bit of arguing over space, but that is the first caution of the evening. Looks like Andrew Fayash III is going to be the only car in the top 10 to come down pit road, and then after that, plenty of guys outside the top 10 taking advantage of this caution. But we only went a couple of laps there, so wasn't expecting a lot of people up front to pit, and that is the case. We did see Shane Terrian last week stay out on significantly older tires and be able to hold off the field, so maybe, just maybe, you never know what can happen there. And actually, Shane Terrian just disconnected from the server there. Don't really understand what that's going on there. Running in 4th, and all of a sudden he has disconnected. That is not a connection issue. He manually disconnects, and then Andrew Fayash III waiting on pit road, and I think they're having some steering wheel issues on that car. So interesting sequence of events there.
We're going to step off for a quick commercial break. Don't go away. Chicken flag. Just a moment. Back here live at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The pace car lights are off. We are set and ready to get the green flag. Up at the front of the field, Colin Bowden making an appearance here in the UpperEdge CMC Sportsman Series on the outside of Corey Hoover, the number 33 Hunt Brothers Pizza Camaro. Pace car pulls down pit road. We wait for the green flag. There it is. And we are racing here once again at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've got over 100 laps to go, and this is Crescent Moon Contracting 200. Here, the title sponsor of the series for the CMC Sportsman Series here, UpperEdge Racing, as these guys continue on. Ryan Dyson up in the outside wall.
Yeah, another another interesting sequence of events there for Ryan. He gets up in the wall. He's got some damage. But to update you a little bit, Shane Terrian has returned to the server. He is a couple of laps down. And Andrew Fayash III actually did not catch up to the field on that green flag, and they've been having some steering wheel issues on that car. So apparently he's been putting up with some unexpected problems. So we'll just have to see if he can come back from that eventually in this race.
Up at the front of the field, now the number 29 of Austin Hartenfeld's on the back bumper of Corey Hoover, diving it down into 3 and 4. That battle for the lead starts to heat up. And now Bradley Burke in that number 2 machine. He's right there in your picture as well.
Yeah, a couple of guys really starting to show their muscles after not getting the Q or qualifying runs we like to say they wanted. Austin Hartenfeld's up in 2nd and Bradley Burke in 10th, or at least started 10th. He's up into the top 4, so definitely those guys starting to get a good feel for what their cars are doing early on, and they are up into the top 4 and pulling away from, looks like most of the field there, top 4 breaking away.
Dalton Alexander in the CFI machine looking strong on the inside line, trying to take away that 5th spot from Trevor Propolo as the caution comes out at the rear of the field. Mike Tellier goes around, and that was a very familiar sight during the All-Star event. That number 97 really seemed to struggle. Pull up the replay, see what happened.
Yeah, it goes high in 3 and 4, and looks like just loses it coming off of turn number 4. The car kind of not handling well in the high lane for him, and he loses traction. It goes around there in turn number 4.
See, he was right behind Ryan Dyson. I really think what happened, Ryan came up in front of him and he had to adjust his line, and just that slight difference in line can mean a huge difference when it comes to how the car handles here. So the number 97 will go around, bring out the caution there. No damage on his machine, even though it was quite the bumpy ride. Maybe need some new shocks in that machine. Probably not here on iRacing. We're not quite that realistic quite yet. But hey, either way, we're under our 2nd caution here on Checkered Flag Interactive. Shane Doherty, Steve Bonesteel up in the booth. Currently, Corey Hoover is leading. Tune in later in the month, the DGFX round number 2 of their Endurance Series in just a few weeks here on Checkered Flag Interactive. I do believe it's 3 hours of racing at Silverstone Historic. I do believe, I might be wrong on that one, but it's going to be a pretty awesome race. We got a second to talk to our in-race reporter, Bronson Stafford. How you doing, Bronson?
I'm doing pretty good, Steve. How about you?
I could be doing better, but hey, either way, we're here live at Charlotte Motor Speedway. How's the car feeling here today? What are you going to be able to do to get that machine back up towards the front?
Car feels pretty good. A little bit of a stare in the first 3 laps. I mean, I'm just thankful to not get it wrecked in that, but it feels good. I kind of like the high side, so maybe I'll try out passing there, because everyone seems to be taking it to the white line, so I don't know.
Who do you think is the sleeper in the field here tonight, with Colin Bowden being back, at least for this race? Who knows if he's going to be back for any longer, but who do you think might have the surprise winning car here today at Charlotte?
If Bowden can keep all his car together and don't hit the wall, he could be one to look out for. Maybe Bruce if he keeps the car clean as well, but I mean, this track's so unique and there's so many people so good at it, and I don't know why that is. It's just the way this track is, so really, you could really say a lot of people are sleepers, so.
Alright, well, wish you the best of luck here on this restart, Bronson. You'll get that number 20 machine back up towards the front. We know you will.
Yep, I'll try.
Different USB ports that are empty until I plug my...
You heard just a blurb there, Andrew Fayash talking about all the issues he's having with that wheel, trying to get that thing worked out, and looks like he's got things sorted out. Shane, and he'll be good to go here on this restart.
Yeah, definitely good to get that out of the way now instead of later in the race. The last thing you want to do is have to give up maybe a top 5 run or maybe even leading the race, who knows, at the end of this thing, and then have to fix an issue like that. He's up to 13th, and hopefully the issues are fixed on that 77 car, and he can have a fair chance to get up there toward the front. Hasn't been inside the top 5 yet today.
With the 2 to green here, these guys will be getting the green flag in just a moment as they cross the line. 1 to green. Field doubles up, they're ready to go racing. Once again, you've got Corey Hoover, Austin Hartenfels, Colin Bowden, as well as Bradley Burke on that outside line. Trevor Roppolo there in that inside line to round out the top 5. And then you've got Dalton Alexander in the number 1 machine on that outside. That's the first 3 rows. And then from there on out, it's just all these guys fighting and jostling for position. Once we get the green flag, I'm sure we'll see it once again. And we'll have...
Yeah, Corey Hoover's been fast all evening. We'll just have to see if Austin Hartenfels will have anything for him. Early on, both those cars looking really good, but who's going to have the advantage on this restart as the pace car gets ready to pull off? Their way through turns 3 and 4. Corey Hoover in the lead, but here comes Colin Bowden on the inside for the second spot on Austin Hartenfels. Plenty of good racing action. Also back there for about the 7th or 8th position. Plenty of these guys trying to take advantage of these restarts to pick up spots, and starting to see that quickly as Mark Murphy gets loose off turn number 2. He saves it. We stay green. Saw plenty of that last week with guys having problems with turn 2, and looks like that strikes one driver so far tonight. Definitely good to see one of those guys who doesn't normally run in this series and starting to really run up front. There goes Corey Hoover into the wall. He just scrapes it. Here comes Colin to the inside to try and take the lead. Looks like that car got a little bit of tight out of turns 2, and Corey having a little bit of problems keeping it underneath.
And that will move Colin Bowden up to the top spot, and now Austin Hartenfeld sneaks by Corey, and Maybe Dalton will be able to sneak on by as well, but it does not look like that will happen. As now, Austin Hartenfeld sets his sight on now who is the leader of Colin Bowden, and we'll see how that one goes. Heading down the back straightaway, that 29 all over the place. Looks like he taps the wall just a tiny bit, no problem there as they continue to go double file through the corner right there in front of him and behind him. As now Dalton Alexander's working the high side and Corey Hoover.
And Dalton doing a great job up there in fifth spot. If he can somehow continue this run throughout the night, this would be a career best for Dalton. So nice to see him up there in the top 5, and there he's a part of that 5-car breakaway now that is kind of broken away from the rest of the field. About half a second separates him to Trevor and Bowden.
These races here have been clicking off the board. We're quickly approaching halfway in the season. Just a couple of races away, and we've seen pretty much everything so far during the season, and things have been pretty good, but one thing has stayed the same. It's been Austin Hartenfels, Corey Hoover, and Andrew Fayash at the front of the field almost every single race, and now you see Austin Hartenfels, after having a tough few weeks there, he's back up fighting for that lead spot. And Bradley Burke, impressed by that number 2 machine, especially here today, and he's now up in that top 3. Now he's going to have to defend that position from the number 33, and we'll have to see how that one plays out. We've got so much racing left to do here today. He might just be able to do something with it, and if he does, he'll be solid and ready to go.
And Fast the third's just kind of stuck outside the top 10 for now, so be a good opportunity for Corey Hoover to run up front and kind of see what he can do early on in this race. I know it is early, but anytime you want to outrun your competition, you want to make sure you do the best you can to get as many points on them. As we see Corey try to take a look on the inside, not quite there. But if Andrew Fayash III happens to have an off night tonight, Corey Hoover, if he's going to want to have the chance to pull himself back into the possible point lead, he'll have to get a good finish.
As they cruise around Charlotte Motor Speedway, this 1.5-mile D-shaped oval in the heart of NASCAR. These guys look to battle it out a little bit harder. They're side by side now for the lead. Hartenfels on the inside, Bowden on the outside.
And old Bowden spins and wrecks off turn number 4. Bradley Burke nowhere to go, and he goes into the wall and head on, and that's going to end the night for Colin Bowden. What a disappointment. And the 28 of Dyson turns the 24 of Riley Grant Davis at the end. A lot going on there. We'll replay.
Up in the checkered flag interactive chopper, you can see Hartenfels just drifts up the track, and a little bit of net code there. No reason for that. 89 gave him plenty of room, but I mean, netcode, you can only avoid it so much. Really unfortunate for Bradley Burke, gets caught up in that. The 89 goes hard into the outside wall, and then they collect behind him. Ryan Dyson gets in that, barely misses Andrew Fayash, and then turns number 24, who doesn't really get much damage from that, but the number 28 continues to collect incident points here tonight. And again, not really his fault, just kind of caught up in the mess, but that's unfortunate for that number 28 machine, because that is the last thing he needs. He needs some solid nights here in the UpperEdge Racing CMC Sportsman Series, and now that machine is so beat up, it might be tough for that to happen.
Yeah, he must have just been one of the last guys to see the wreck, and not a lot of time to react when you're back there in the back half of the field. I know you come off turn number 4, and then all of a sudden the front straightaway just appears in front of you, and there's really nowhere to go. If you realize too late, he slams on the brakes, but unfortunately has to get into the side of Riley Grant Davis. Thankfully, no substantial damage to either cars, but it's just a product of the wreck here off turn number 4. Kind of a blind spot for some of these guys in the back half of the field. And I guess that's what caused that. The biggest loser in that wreck, though, Colin Bowden by far, running up front, has a chance to win. That car more than likely probably done competitively for the night. He'll just have to kind of nurse it around.
We are going to head off to a commercial break here as Andy Glazik dives down pit road. 34 laps complete when they cross the stripe here under our third caution of the night. When we come back, we'll update you on the running order and what we're going to see up on this restart. We'll be back in just a moment on Checkered Flag Interactive. And we're back here live with these guys getting ready to get the green flag. Lane Krasinski and the number 60 machine on that inside line. It's going to be out there on old tires. Going to make this restart even more interesting for that inside line. Just waiting for him to get off here. Watch where the tires spin. Not very likely at this track. Pretty grippy pavement, I guess, if you want to call it that. Stacks up that restart just a little bit there. Have to watch that inside line carefully and see how they manage here with that slower traffic. He's going to be a couple tenths off the pace for about 5 or 6 laps. And that number 60 has historically been an attraction of incident points here in the series just due to luck. Anytime you get around that number 60, someone in front of you is going to get turned. Luckily, there's no one in front of that number 60, so maybe he'll have better luck here. Because once he gets up towards the top 5, Shane, that number 60 machine looks pretty strong each and every week. It's just once he gets caught up in the back of the field, he just cannot ever escape any of the wrecks.
Still up here on the front row, leading the field. Here comes Corey Hoover and Austin Hartfield's huge neck coat between Dalton Alexander. Austin's in the wall, and that's another instance of net code. Maybe Austin having some internet issues right now and causing some problems there.
Oh, and Corey Hoover sideways.
Corey Hoover. Yeah, Corey Hoover almost loses it off the corner. Talk about a rare instance of events all of a sudden. Now Elaine Krasinski is going to have like a second lead over the entire field. It's just crazy. Wow.
And everything changes up towards the front there. Look at Fayosh back up in third position as, Austin Hartenfels, there you could see it. There was an obvious full half of a lane worth of net code there on that one. And that's very unfortunate for him, and luckily for Alexander, that machine gets by. No damage on that right side, so it's obvious that it was net code as the caution's out. Wreck in the back. Bradley Burke.
It's a huge wreck.
Andy Glazik's involved in that one, I do believe.
Trying to take a look at the replay. I think the initial wreck was caused by the 89 of Colin Bowden losing it off turn number 4. gets into Shane Terrian, and then a couple other cars follow there, but it's definitely another instance in turn 4 coming up and fighting. These guys just really loose off.
We saw that a lot last week when we were in the All-Star event, and it looks like the 89 Colin Bowden just goes around, collects Shane Terrian, and then trying to avoid the wreck, the number 2, the number 19, they get collected in with each other, and they just go off into the infield there, hit the pit road wall for Andy Glazik, and tough luck for all of them.
Yeah, looks like that motor on the 89 of Colin Bowden has finally expired for the evening. Unfortunate for him, involved in the previous 2 cautions, just not the night he was looking for. But Elaine Krasinski is the big beneficiary of all this. He keeps the lead, and plenty of these guys find themselves all of a sudden in the top 5. Bruce Ackerman, he paced some of the practices this week in the UpperEdge CMC Sportsman Series and has appeared to be pretty fast, and all of a sudden he's up in 2nd. Andrew Fayash, 3rd, is up into the 3rd spot, but how about our in-race reporter, Bronson Stafford, up to the 5th position right now, and he's doing a nice job there, and currently in the best spot he's been all race.
A little bit of issues on the server. It looks like the number 60, Elaine Krasinski, in front of the field, having a little bit of a blinking issue. Looks to be resolved pretty quickly, but we'll have to keep our eye on that as the night goes on.
Yeah, definitely. He is the leader at the moment, so definitely not good to have internet connection issues, especially from the lead spot. So we'll just have to see if those iron themselves out before we get this race restarted. Currently working lap 42, not 142, and still somewhat early on in this race, kind of coming toward that halfway mark, not quite there, and definitely starting to see this race kind of take the approach that could happen. Starting to see some wrecks early on. I hope we get a long run in before the conclusion to tonight's event, because there's plenty of guys up front who maybe want a chance at this lead here and need a longer run to do that so, and plenty of other guys trying to get some damage fixed at this point, as we've had a lot of cars involved in wrecks, probably more than I would have expected.
Two to go currently. These guys will be getting ready to go back to racing in just a moment. And these guys have had a very eventful season, like I mentioned. The UpperEdge Racing CMC Sportsman Series, the first season here in the B car, and we've got another one coming up after this one. It's been a lot of fun here covering this week in, week out at CFI, and these guys out here on the racetrack every single week. They put on a great show out there, and just want to thank UpperEdge Media, Crescent Moon Contracting, and all of the sponsors over at Control Freak, London Recreational Racing, and more. Not sure how Andy Glazik gets waved around the pace car there. He came out behind the field, it looked like, Shane.
Yeah, that's very interesting. All of a sudden I see him come out of pit road, the field goes by him, and then he speeds right on ahead. That car currently trying to get some damage fixed, but yeah, that's an interesting thing that happened there, but he will go around the field and make up the lap we almost lost.
Just a little bit of luck over in that number 19's pit crew, so that's okay here as we're going to be going back racing. He'll be catching up to the tail end of the field. We've got over a long ways to go here, over halfway. I mean, we're not even quite there. I say we're about a third of the way through this race chain, and things are going to start picking up if they already haven't here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm going to turn it over to you for the restart.
Yeah, we get the green. We'll have 90 laps to go. Still plenty of a ways to go here as Elaine Krasinski, your leader, leads him to the green flag, and the green flag is out there. He gets a decent start. Still neck and neck as they head through the trial into turn number 1.
Take a moment and crank it up. Checkered flag interactive. Ooh! Big trouble!
Andrew Fayas, the third, stuck in the fence. Plenty of other cars wrecking. What just happened? We need to re-look at that. Oh my gosh.
Let's put that down in slow motion. The number 77 thought he was going to collide with Bruce Ackerman there, so he checks up, clips the apron, and Corey Hoover just clips him into the outside wall. How did Dalton Alexander escape that one? And then they just start wrecking all over the place. And unfortunately for Andrew Fayash, our points leader, will have that bad night that he did not need, and I've got a feeling that he might just come very close to losing that points lead.
Yeah, I think the thing that happened there is he was sideways. He had the wheel pretty much all the way turned to the right because he was about to spin out, it looked like, and then Corey Hoover gave him a tap, and the weight shifted to the left rear on that car, and because he had all that wheel input already into it, just shot him straight right head on into the wall. And see the iRacing physics kind of take over there, and he gets stuck in the fence and has to call a tow truck. Not good for Andrew Fayash III, but I think a tow truck is the least of his worries right now. That car done for the evening, definitely, and that point lead, if there is any point lead at the end of this race, is going to be very small.
Well, with yet another caution here at a very atrocious race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, we're going to head off for a quick commercial break. Do not go away. We've got more for the Crescent Moon Contracting 200 here live at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back here live at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 48 laps into this event, we are set and almost ready to get the green flag once again here tonight. I do believe this is the 6th caution we are working in 48 laps here. A very tough race on some of these drivers. There aren't very many cars with no damage, and I do believe Elaine Krasinski might just be one of the only cars without a dent anywhere on that machine, as well as I see the number 16 Michael Thompson. He's clean. And the number 3 Marco Polo he's clean. Joseph Tice, he's clean. So we'll have to see how this restart works out, but we are set and ready, like I said, to get the restart here. Shane, what do you think we're going to see here?
Yeah, definitely continuing to see some carnage here throughout the early part of the race. Actually, some of these guys going to have to realize we have 133 laps scheduled for tonight. Only on the 48th, coming to the 49th lap, not even halfway. Good idea here would be to calm down, just see what you can do, and definitely don't force the issue. Got a long race to go as the pace car pulls off. Elaine Krasinski brings the field down, and the green flag is out. We are back to racing.
If you're just now tuning in, gotta keep your eyes on that number 60, the iRacing Clean Machine, having a little bit of a blinking issue, but also on old tires. Out in front of the field, Corey Hoover's on newer tires in comparison, as well as all of the drivers right there behind him. So keep your eyes peeled at the front of the field, because if we're gonna have action, it's gonna be right there on your screen.
Yeah, Corey Hoover trying to use the outside to go around Elaine for the lead, and it looks like he's going to do that. If he can get a good run into turn number 1, he's got the advantage there, leads that lap, and will swoop right up in front of the 16. Corey Hoover retakes the lead.
And now Corey has to pace himself. He needs to remember not to overdo it. Lately, historically, we've seen him push the car to its limits just too far sometimes, and he ends up getting himself in trouble. Ryan Dyson on the outside, Dalton Alexander trying to take away that 5th spot, but that number 28 machine looks pretty damaged here, so we'll have to see if he can hold on to that outside groove, but it's going to be tight as they go through 3 and 1 and 2. Ryan pinching the number 1 down a little bit as he turns him!
Oh! Dalton Alexander, Ryan Dyson get into it there. An unfortunate sequence
No
of events.
caution.
No caution, by the way. As you said, Steve.
And there it
There's
is.
the caution.
I think this would be another one of those times for the chopper cam to come in handy. Breaking it down, heading down the back straightaway, that number 1 runs the middle line just a little bit. Ryan Dyson comes down off the wall, clips that right rear quarter panel, completely turns the number 1. I mean, maybe just a miscalculation of how he was coming down off the track, but the number 28 came down about a half a lane, caught that right rear quarter panel, completely turned Dalton there. Luckily for both drivers, not much additional damage to either car, but tough break. We're only on lap 53, and these guys are racing like it's the last lap.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate, but one of the guys who got some other damage is Austin Hartenfels. He ran into the back of his teammate Ryan Dyson, trying to check up there for the wreck, and he's in 5th right now, but he's got some front-end damage he'll have to address. And obviously Dalton Alexander running in the top 5 there, involved in that wreck, and that will take him out of contention for tonight's event after getting hooked head-on into the wall. So lots and lots of carnage early on. This is definitely something we were not expecting.
I've actually caught up with Dalton Alexander as he gets that damage evaluated on his car. What just happened there, Shane? Up in the chopper, it looks like Dyson just kind of came down on you. Is that what happened from your point of view? Alexander, it's Bone Steel up in the booth. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, you got me?
Yeah. It looks like...
That's pretty much what my experience was. I thought I was mostly clear going through the corner, so I may have pinched him a little bit going... Hold on. I may have pinched him a little bit going out of the turn, but down the back straightaway, he just turned left into me.
How much damage was on the car down there on pit lane?
It was only about 30 seconds, but only about 30 seconds, so I shouldn't be in too bad of a shape.
Alright, well, good luck there. Tough luck at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Checkered Flag Interactive is going to take a quick commercial break. Do not go away. We'll be right back for the restart once again. And we are back here at Charlotte, speaking with Dalton's crew chief there. And Dyson's spotter and crew chief says that he didn't come down, that Dalton came up, but up from what we can see there, Shane, definitely on the contrary. Very unfortunate for Alexander, and that's definitely not what he needed here. Having a great night off at the top 5, and unfortunately for him, that's going to be a tough break. But up at the front of the field, we see that number 20, our in-race reporter, Bronson Stafford, on the outside lane. It looks like he might be able to have a good shot here today, because a lot of these cars start to have damage. But Trevor Rapolo in the control freak machine, that number 9, he's looking strong too. But the base car pulls on down pit road, and we are going back racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The leader is away, green flag.
Yeah, good run there for Corey Hoover. He has been by far the class in the field here since he has gotten into that lead position. Bronson Stafford slides into the second spot. Close racing action between Trevor Rapolo and Austin Hartenfels. Gonna have to see how that front end damage holds up for Austin Hartenfels. But Shane Terrian, after being involved in that wreck with Colin Bowden, all of a sudden back up into the top 5. Trying to see what he could do after last week's showdown win, and wow, he's up to 4th after having some damage. That's impressive.
Side by side, Trevor Rapolo getting past. It looks like 38. Shane Terrian, he gets up into the wall just a little bit there, but he's going to be A-okay heading up back straightaway. Bruce Ackerman's got shades of control freak right on his back bumper, and somehow, some way, the 89 gets that car fixed, and it looks pretty much brand new up there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. He had a lot of damage, and he's all the way back up inside the top 10. Oh, I guess you can put a lot of that on the crew of that 89 car to put the car back together to the best of their ability. It's what you got to do here. You get involved in a wreck, just do the best you can, get the car back to where it was at least. And he's definitely running faster and running more competitive than I thought he would. I pretty much ruled him out after that wreck, but here he is inside the top 10, so we'll just have to see when it's all said and done where he ends up.
As we start to get closer to halfway, we've got the battle on the screen. Mark Murphy and Trevor Rapolo on the outside line. Mark Murphy goes around as well as Elaine Krasinski. They both save it. So we continue on here, and these cars are just going to continue to get loose as the race goes on. These drivers just need to get the car underneath of them here. I mean, Colin Bowden's drifting off of 3 and 4 every single lap, Shane.
Yeah, definitely very, very tricky corner exit here for these guys tonight. Just going to have to hang on to it because you're going to need to get your car to the finish here. And looks like the field's spreading out, so this could be a promising run we've been waiting for throughout this race. Log some laps, see who's got the better long run car. Right now, Colin Bowden 8th, Dalton Alexander in 9th. Both those cars with severe damage, running inside the top 10, so a good job to those crews, good job to those drivers sticking in there, hanging in there, and still running strong.
for the first time here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, things seem to have calmed down around a while. Never know how long that one's going to last.
Yes, as the Rapolo swap spots, Mark Rapolo goes around Trevor Rapolo for the 6th spot there on the racetrack. Shane Terrian also battling up there in the top 5.
Colin Bowden's got competition from Tyson Alexander there through 3 and 4. That number 89 WeatherTech machine's looking loose. Dalton Alexander getting loose there. Beautiful save by him. And now that will allow Tice to hop up on his outside and compete for that position. That's going to be for the 9th position on your screen. And it looks like this race, now that we're going green, we're about halfway. And now things are going to start to string out. If we've got at least one green flag pit stop here tonight, Shane, and that could change practically everything. And just got to keep hoping and praying if you're a driver that you find some luck here and you don't get loose off 3 and 4. You go through the grass, you spin out, and no caution for you. Looking up at the front of the field, we've got a 2-comp breakaway. Bronson Stafford looking strong behind the Hunt Brothers Pizza Machine. And he's going to try to contest for that top spot here as he dives into 3 and 4, right up on that back bumper in the number 3. Not quite there yet.
Yeah, he's definitely trying his best there to hang with Corey Hoover. They are separating themselves from Shane Terrian and company, and really going to be interesting to see if Bronson can maybe hang with Corey Hoover for most of this run. Corey has been amazing on these 1.5 miles all season. And usually if Andrew Fayash III has been winning races, it's Corey Hoover. He's been pretty much amazing, as you can say, on these bigger tracks, and he's continuing to prove that tonight. Bronson Stafford in 2nd. He's had a mixed season. He's had some great races, and others had some wrecks where he just hasn't had the luck he's been looking for. Maybe tonight he can find a way to collect that 2nd victory of the season. We'll just have to see here. Currently running 2nd and hanging with your leader.
It looks like he's going to take a look low in 3 and 4. Yes, he will, Shane, as we're side by side at the front of the field halfway through this event. I mean, this is where the number 20 can't do that. He goes off into the grass, that thing we just talked about that you can't do. He just did it once again.
Yeah, it looks like he got those left sides below the white line, and that is usually not a good thing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Gets the car loose off turn number 4, especially with this setup car. Does not like it when you come off the corner that low, and has some problems there. He saves the car, thankfully, but he's going to lose a ton of time just now getting back up to speed, and it's going to be unfortunate for Bronson. He'll need a caution to get back in the race.
Ryan Dyson still struggling after a very damaged number 28 machine, UpperEdge Media Camaro. Just doing the best that he can to ride around here in that 14th position. Colin Bowden also ran into issues there, got loose off 3 and 4, lost a few positions as well. Now Trevor Rapolo starting to pull away from Dalton Alexander in that 8th spot, trying to make something happen there, maybe progress a little higher. Shane Terrian, Mark Rapolo, and I do believe Joseph Tice. He's right there on that screen of the cars, the group of cars right there in front of him. These guys are racing pretty hard. If we're going to get a caution, it's going to be from one of these guys, and it's not going to be from a big-time wreck, I don't believe, Shane. It's just going to be these guys are racing so hard. One of them's bound to clip that apron just like Bronson did, and going to loop that car around coming off turn 3 and 4, and I mean, they're starting to get progressively looser up here in this pack. I mean, it's just a matter of time before we see something happen to one of these guys, as now Trevor and Dalton are back up in the group.
Yeah, definitely. You see the car kind of get tight to the corner. You try and put the nose of the car lower and lower on the racetrack, and then all of a sudden you hit that spot where all of a sudden you start to get really loose, and you have to either save it, correct the car off the corner, or you end up spinning and going around there. We've seen it countless times tonight. You're going to have to be aware of that. Get used to how the car drives and be consistent. Do not make mistakes out there. It only hinders your progress to try and get toward the front. I think now everyone's just kind of understanding you're going to need to make it to the end. Spreading out here, I believe this is the longest run we've had in this entire race.
Alexander works his way around Rapolo, now underneath of Tarian in 3 and 4. That number 1 machine, even with some damage there, looking strong, but he's got to be careful, like we mentioned. That low side tends to get loose in 3 and 4. You don't want to ruin your night, even after making a comeback. Up in the front, Corey Hoover still out in front by over a full second, so you're not missing anything there. As it looks like...
still impressed that one car as he gets in the wall.
Shane Tarian got up against the wall, and that's just one of those things you got to be so careful about when you're battling here. But looking at the group of cars right there in front of him, Mark Rapolo there, and then that number 3 Alpha machine, it looks like he's pretty sporty and now trying to make that pass on Ryan Dyson, pick up a position there, move him up. Or actually, that's Austin Hartenfels, excuse me, trying to move up into that top 3. A great night for that number 3 machine. And this is one of those nights that could define the rest of the season for a lot of these drivers. I mean, Charlotte Motor Speedway is the center of NASCAR and the center of really anything racing when it comes to America. And great place to win and great place to race.
Yeah, and I think the 29 Austin Hartenfels kind of starting to feel the effects of having the front end damage. Maybe some drag down the straightaways, not quite getting the speed he wants down the straightaways, and not helping him out at all right now. He's Bruce Ackerman, who's currently running in the 2nd spot, and trying to hold off Mark Rapolo and Joseph Thies. As here goes Mark Rapolo to the inside. They will be side by side. And looks like great racing action here for the 4th spot.
The number 29 really pins him down coming through the corner. He's got to be careful doing that, Shane. You pinch him just too hard, you're going to find yourself getting turned. And that is most definitely not what number 29 wants to add to his resume tonight.
Yeah, but don't look now. Here comes the one car, Dalton Alexander, breathing fire. You could kind of quote the comeback that he continues to have here tonight after being involved in a caution. That car is flying through the field, just went around Joseph Thies. Here he comes on Austin Hartenfels and Mark Rapolo. They'll actually go side by side with Joseph Thies into this turn, but Dalton Alexander showing some speed despite the damage.
And move the number 3 up in front of the number 29, Austin Hartenfels, unofficially here as they go through 3 and 4. It's going to be a tight battle now. Not only is it for that position, but they're side by side right there. Shane Tarian's in the picture. I mean, all these guys throw them under a blanket, racing so hard for position out on the track, and these damaged cars really start to seem to be coming into play against those drivers, and it's really not what they want to see. Dalton Alexander gets loose. Hold on to it, baby. He gets the outside wall. That's going to hurt him substantially, Shane.
Yeah, definitely. You do not want to be doing that to the car. It's only going to hurt you as the run goes on, and he almost gets it again, but that time he's all right. Definitely seen a couple of cars get into the wall. I know Shane Tarian did not too long ago. Just got to keep that right side of the car clean. It's the only way you're going to find yourself running at the end. Competitively, you do not want to beat up the car. It's only going to work against you late in this race.
Top 5 on your screen. Corey Hoover, Bruce Ackerman, Mark Rapolo, Austin Hartenfels, Joseph Thies rounds out the top 5.
Yeah, they got everyone inside the top 5 there. Bruce Ackerman running in the 2nd spot right now, kind of switching lap times back and forth between Corey Hoover and himself. Having a great run, a career run for that number 7 car. He, like I said, he's been fast all week in practice, and kind of queued 6th there, maybe a little bit off of what he could have ran, but still, Bruce Ackerman having a great run in 2nd spot.
We are going to take a quick commercial break here live at CFI at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We will be right back for the final stages of this race in just a moment. Back live at Charlotte Motor Speedway, things heating up between Garoppolo, Hartenfels, and Alexander there on your screen, side by side in 3 and 4. Very clean pass by that number 9.
And
looks like Dalton Alexander finds the outside wall again.
yeah, definitely not having the kind of run he was looking for. After he got toward the front there, all of a sudden having some problems getting off the corner, and he is falling back there in the 7th spot. And like many other drivers now, continues to have right side damage, and it's becoming pretty common with the kind of setup these guys are driving here tonight. Apparently gets really loose or really tight at times.
Mark Rapolo's actually almost on the back bumper of the number 7 of Bruce Ackerman. Shane, we might have a switch for 2nd place pretty soon.
Yeah, he's bringing the 5 of Joseph Thies along with him there. Bruce has been running in the 2nd spot for this entire run, and now all of a sudden he's going to have some challenges there as Mark and Joseph continue to approach. These guys are still 2.5 seconds back of your leader, Corey Hoover, who is all out in his own island, you could say at this point. No one around him, in front of him, or behind him. He's just kind of out there having his little Sunday drive with no one around him.
And that's not even a strange thing to see here in the UpperEdge Racing Series, so it is what it is.
See, Joseph Thies actually make the pass for 3rd. Goes around Mark Rapolo, and here he comes to the back bumper of Bruce Ackerman. Can Joseph Thies have a good run here tonight as Bruce gets tight? Joseph looks to the inside. They will be side by side. A little bit of connection issues there for the 5 car, but we'll just have to see how they go into turns number 1 and 2, still side by side.
Dalton Alexander found that outside wall again, fell off the pace, lost a couple of spots there. And now these guys are once again battling move Joseph Tice up to that 2nd spot. Did not expect that one, and now Mark Garoppolo will try to go underneath that number 7 and make a position there.
Yeah, I think Bruce Ackerman's feeling the tight side right now. The car just not turning through the corner how he wants it to, and he just cannot get off the corner like some of these other guys might have used up that right front, and he will give up that position there to Mark Rapolo. Apparently not, as he actually gets the run down the back straightaway. I think we're side by side, and he uses a little side draft there to continue the spot. But Joseph Thies is driven away from these two, and we'll just have to see what happens here as these guys get spread out again.
We've still got a group of cars battling out on the track. The number 60s, actually, Elaine Krasinski's worked his way through this group of cars. Now Shane, Terry, Michael from Lace, and Rally Grant Davidson. I do believe that's the tail end of that pack right there, but these 4 cars throw them under a blanket with just 41 laps to go. These guys all wadded up next to each other. This could be interesting, and if we're going to see a caution, I'm going to have to change, and it's going to have to be from these guys battling it out hard. You're trying to make something happen.
Yeah, a couple of those cars have been involved in accidents tonight. Michael Van Leysen was involved in the first wreck with Elaine Krasinski. I saw Rally Grant Davis get turned around by Ryan Dyson earlier in the event. Now, obviously, Shane Terrian's been in the wall and had some other issues throughout the night. Actually went 2 laps down at one point in this event, and they're all just around the top 10 there. Some inside, some on the outside looking in, but still great runs as Shane Terrian comes to pit road.
And pit stops for a lot of drivers will start to begin as we're coming to that point where we're just inside the fuel window here at a 1.5 mile track. Expect everyone to be on and off pit road within the next 5 to 7 laps.
Yeah, could this force the action to Corey Hoover? And it does. Here comes the 33 car, your leader, to pit road. Nobody around him after a commanding lead, but Mark Rapolo gets pushed out of pit road. Maybe he was trying to come to pit road, but Bruce Ackerman Might have got into him there. Plenty of cars coming to pit road now. They saw the leader come down, and they are not taking any chances. Pit road all of a sudden getting very busy here.
Tell you what, Shane, that was a quick 5 to 7 laps. Everyone's on and off pit road now. The last couple cars heading down pit road this time by.
Yeah, definitely see the rest of the that have stayed out actually coming into pit road this time by. We're talking about Lane Brzezinski, Riley Grant Davis, and now Mark Murphy make their way down to pit road. They're going to pit a little bit later than the rest of the field, but still, everyone pitting in the same 5-lap window. So definitely no one trying to extend it out any farther than usual. Everyone coming in pretty much at the same time.
Ryan Dyson still to come down pit road within a relative amount of time. Dalton Alexander took 2 tires there on that pit stop, listening to his boy up in the pit box there and the booth myself, crew chiefing that number 1 machine and trying to get him out of trouble here and see if we can't salvage a top 5 finish. I think those right side tires will be good enough to keep him going for a while here. We'll just have to see, Shane.
Yeah, definitely. If you 2 tires, it will work. It's just the driver driving the car has to be comfortable with that tire difference. You're going to have really good rides, but left side tires you're going to have to account for. And if he can successfully kind of drive the car underneath him and not have any other additional problems, that will be a good call. Just have to see here, though, because we still have over 30 laps to go. Definitely could see a caution here if these guys stay out later in the event. I don't know if 2 tires would be the right call there if we get a caution in that situation, but we have to get one for that to come into effect here. But Ryan Dyson, he's in the lead. He obviously isn't going to win the race tonight if he doesn't make a bold move like this one. And he's probably going to stay out, run it dry, just try everything in desperation to see if he can pull out an upset tonight, and we'll just have to see if that'll happen.
And number 28 is just so beat up after being involved in multiple incidents here today. Risky strategy, but we'll see if it works.
Tell you what, it was the bigger gain probably on that entire cycle of stops, I should say. Bruce Ackerman is now within a second, almost just half a second behind Corey Hoover. And if Ryan Dyson has to come to pit road, this will be the battle for the lead. And the fact that Bruce Ackerman was not even second when he came down pit road, actually had some problems, almost ran over Mark Rapolo coming onto pit road. The fact that he is even near Corey Hoover after that exchange of stops is amazing. Good job by that number 7 car driver crew, getting him out there. He has a chance to be around Corey Hoover late in the race.
Well, Shane, what happened there is when he went down pit road, he only took 2 tires as well.
So there you go. Yeah, that'll explain a lot, but still, that's going to put him near Corey Hoover. We'll have to see if that works out to his advantage or if it doesn't.
While we have a moment, the Checkered Flag Interactive Experience campaign of 2015 kicked off yesterday. Head over to our Facebook pages to check out all the cool things we've got coming to you guys within the next couple of weeks, and so even sooner, we've got some new stuff going on now. So head over, check that out while you've got a second. You are watching the UpperEdge Racing CMC Sportsman Series as Bruce Ackerman sideways again. Saves it, but I mean that's no good. And he goes through the grass even more there. And we're here for the Crescent Moon Contracting 200 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, where it's been a race of attrition.
Yeah, definitely there. The two tires not working out. Talking about that whole driver and car balanced there, and just not working out for Bruce Ackerman, and he gets a little loose.
For these guys on two tires, what they really need is a caution to come out within the next 5 to 10 laps. They'll be able to come down pit road, get another set of 4 fresh Goodyears, and most likely everyone around them will also take 4. And then they'll be able to be out there on fresh tires and have a couple positions of track position out there.
Yeah, because of actually Bruce taking 2 tires, having a substantial gap because of the rest of the drivers, he only dropped back to the 4th spot. He's just in front of Dalton Alexander now. Also took tires, as we said, but he only lost 2 spots there.
Nearing the final parts of this event, these drivers trying strategy, trying to do whatever they can necessary to get themselves in a solid finishing position here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I mean, this season's been so innovative for a lot of drivers. They've had to come up with all kinds of new ways to find their way to victory lane, and while it's been the Fayage show for the majority of the season, these other drivers have been slowly creeping their way into what I think can compete with him.
Yeah, definitely the first run that we saw there before the green flag stops, he was kind of pulling away from the rest of the field, and now after that he's kind of had some other drivers close in. Joseph Thies is currently Corey Hoover's biggest competition at the moment. He's about 2.5 seconds back from him, but nonetheless, I mean, with Andrew Fayage III having problems, Austin Hartenfeld's having front end damage, Corey Hoover's had a relatively quiet night as in terms of battles and intensifying pressure, but nonetheless in second spot right now, and possibly could track down Ryan Dyson if Ryan decides to stay for a while.
Yeah, the number 28 machine has been able to stay out a lot longer because of being involved in those incidents. He's been able to come down pit road under caution, get a little more fuel, get fresher tires on that machine, but he's going to run out with it. Excuse me, within about 5 to 10 laps.
Looks like Dalton Alexander losing some spots to Mark Murphy and Austin Hartenfels. Maybe those 2 tires not quite working out for him as he's drifting off the corner, almost gets into Austin Hartenfels there. But nonetheless, we continue on green, and just going to have to see if we see a caution at the end of this race or not. Because right now we have about 30 laps to go or so, a little bit more, and plenty of racing action still out there on the track.
Tight battling between Bruce Ackerman and Mark Murphy, that number 48. One of the sleeper drivers here today, Mark Murphy, has been in the Road Life machine, the title sponsor of the upcoming truck series here. The trucks return to the UpperEdge Racing League here on iRacing in just a few months, so that's going to be exciting once that makes its way back. Ryan Dyson's now on pit road getting that machine serviced, and there we go. Just like that, Corey Hoover's back up to the lead with a 3-second gap.
Yeah, definitely there, and that's be interesting to see if that changes. If we don't see a caution for the rest of the race as we come to 20 to go this time by, will Joseph Thies have the ability to track down Corey Hoover? Because that's pretty much it. It's 6.5 seconds back to Mark Murphy. If someone's going to win this race besides Corey Hoover, it would probably be Joseph Thies. We'll just have to see here. These rest of this race is going to be interesting to watch.
Krasinski trying to hold off the position from Trevor Roppolo. That number 60's looked pretty impressive here today. And he was voted into the All-Star event last week by the fan vote, and now that number 60's up at the top 10 rank here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway, once again looking strong. And Mark Roppolo also having a strugglesome night after being in the top 3 for a little while there. Shane, you see him there sitting in 7th place and not looking too good on 2 tires. Dalton Alexander sitting in 6th. He's also on 2 tires. Bruce Ackerman there sitting in 4th position, also on 2 tires. So a lot of 2-tire strategies, like we've mentioned, coming into play. 18 laps to go. It might have saved him a position or 2 on the track, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we will just have to see plenty of guys out there running by themselves, kind of not being challenged by anybody, so we'll just have to see if that does anything. Really, I don't think it will, but I guess to go back to the whole thing of the truck series returning to the UpperEdge Racing League, if you're on iRacing or are aware of how the seasons work, is I'll get back to that later because we have a caution this week.
Shane Terrian's around on the front straightaway. We'll pull up a replay. Coming off 3 and 4, something similar to what we saw all night long. 38 goes around, almost comes up against those cars on the outside line. That could have been troublesome. Either way, that resets things once again, and that changes pretty much everything. A good pit stop here could get you up in the top 5. A bad pit stop for Corey Hoover could move you back outside the top 5. We'll have to see what happens on pit road.
Yeah, definitely being inside 20 lap to go. Is 4 tires really necessary at this point? We have plenty of cars on the lead lap. You might see people stay out. I do not know. That's why I'm in the commentating booth and not on the pit box. So that's a tough decision to make, and I would rather watch and see. So we will watch and see what they do.
Couple of drivers staying out at the front. Dalton Alexander, one of the drivers going down pit road. Joseph Tice, Mark Murphy, Bruce Ackerman. And then Corey Hoover, Austin Hartenfels, Elaine Krasinski, and Ryan Dyson, the drivers that stayed out. And I think the driver that's in the best shape of these guys might be Ryan Dyson, even though he's on 2 tires.
Yeah, a little bit of damage, but he is definitely one of those guys who would be the beneficiary to stay out here, and looks like maybe would have probably saved some 2 tires on the pit lane. We did not see that because those guys stayed out. Everyone who came out on the pit road decided to take 4 tires, maybe with the exception of Trevor Roppolo, but nonetheless, if you pitted, you put 4 fresh tires on. If you stayed out, well, you're going to have to restart with those older tires, so this restart is going to be interesting to say the least.
We're going to take our final commercial break of the night. When we come back, we'll have the restart for you here. What could be the last one at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Crescent Moon Contracting 200. Here live from CFI. Welcome back live here. The pace car lights are off. We're going to be getting the green flag with 12 laps to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Crescent Moon Contracting 200.
Yeah, definitely going to see some strategy mixed up here. Corey Hoover stayed out along with several other drivers. Some guys took four. We'll have to see how that stacks up here. We are 1 to green down the back straightaway.
Probably the most pivotal restart of the race. These guys in the back of the field, they're going to be desperate to pick up track position. The guys at the front of the field, desperate to hold on to it. A lot of these guys on older tires, I mean, we could see anything happen. Just enough time on the board to get one more caution, possibly even two, depending on how it happens. And I mean, it's all up in the air right now as the pace car lights are off. We're set and ready to head down pit road once again. We're going to be getting the green flag, like I said. 12 laps to go. There's the pace car. Now we wait for the 33 to head off into the sunset possibly here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and green flags up in the air. We are back racing. Let's just see how this one shapes out. The outside line did not get going at all, Shane, and that's going to stack them up going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely got to be careful here if you're racing side by side. Close quarters, not a lot of room. See some 3 wide the back half of the field, but Austin Hartfell's at that front end damage. Pulls back to third as Elaine Krasensky moves up to the second spot.
Almost having trouble, and there's the trouble! Caution's out! Big wreck!
Huge wreck, several drivers caught up. Trevor Rapolo, one of them there, but we'll stack them back up. Try and restart, but a replay coming up.
Bruce Ackerman got loose off the corner, collects the number 9 of Trevor Rapolo, and spins the number 28 of Ryan Dyson. I mean, Ryan just cannot miss anything tonight. Sad thing is, he probably thought he was clear too.